Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
For those of you I haven't met, my name's Gary O'Connell, and along with my wife, Beth, I've been a member of the congregation for 7 years, and this year I'm serving on the Board of Trustees as the president. Thank you. That's as good as it gets, trust me. I'm very pleased to be joining the Reverend Kathy Hurt and the Reverend Kelly Rivers on the chancel today. This is a change for us. I believe this is the first time that they have jointly conducted a service since Reverend Kelly's ordination earlier this year. Now, I've been assured that they are not doing this service together because I'm worship associate and I need all the help I can get. They're here today because homecoming is a special event and that marks the beginning of our year, and this is a special year for us. So welcome, everyone, those who are present in this sanctuary and those who are online to this worship service. We hope that this congregation and in this sacred space, you will be strengthened by spiritual encouragement and find comfort from those who join you in worship. At this time, if you are here in the sanctuary, please take a moment to verify that your cell phones are muted. And public service announcement, please remember to turn them back on at the end of service. Otherwise, you'll be like me and miss a week's worth of phone calls. That's so bad. If you are a new visitor to this congregation, you are welcomed with love. If you want to learn more about us and the Unitarian Universalism Church, please stop by at the welcome table today in the lobby. If you are new and joining us online, please visit the newcomer page on our website at uucwnc.org. That stands for Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Wilmington, North Carolina. So now, if you are comfortable doing so, we invite any visitors or folks who have been away for a while to introduce or reintroduce yourselves to the congregation. If you are online and are new, please just type a quick introduction into the chat box. So is there anybody here on my left that would like to introduce themselves? No? How about in the center?
Debbie Davis, new to Wilmington, followed my daughter to college. She didn't mind.
Welcome, Debbie. You'll find there's also a lot of grandchild chasing in this congregation as well.
Are you a surfer?
Is there anybody on the right who would like to introduce themselves? Yes.
I'd like to introduce my partner, Keith Calder, and he's third generation Wilmingtonian, and this is his first visit.
Welcome, Keith. Thank you. Thank you for sharing worship with us this morning. In your order of service, please find announcements for some of the many activities and happenings in our congregation. There's also a calendar of the events posted on the wall on your way to Dopkin Hall, which is located in the back of this building. Please join us there after the service today for coffee, conversation, and a special potluck luncheon today. I also have announcements for you about some of the changes that have occurred during the summer break. This has been a real busy year for the congregation. First, as a result of the fundraising led by Becky Schreiber and Jeanette Koshar last year, and your generosity, we now have a new functioning AED medical device installed in the lobby just to the left of the door. And thanks to the classes organized by Kathy Gilchrist and assisted by Fran Strauss, we also have people who are trained on how to use that AED device, which is equally important when you think about it. Another new change is the artwork on the gallery wall, which is in the rear of the sanctuary to my right. We are featuring the work of artist Pamela Cook, and her work will be available until November 3rd. So please enjoy the art And remember that if you decide to purchase one of the pieces, part of the proceeds go to the congregation. So it's good culture and it's good business. Work on the interior of the buildings continued to evolve over the summer. As an example, Roxy Morrison refinished some new chairs. They're up here on the chancel and look really good. And they're comfortable, which is a big change too. And thanks to the Campus Assessment Committee, we also have new doors installed in the sanctuary and some technology upgrades to the security system. I'm highlighting some of the things that are new, but thank you to all the volunteers and staff who work so hard to keep the grounds and buildings in shape throughout the year. But here's a big change. Outside, you may have noticed an empty space where the old annex building used to be. For those of you who are new, the church installed a mobile office structure for meetings in RE. It was supposed to last for 5 years, and 25 years later, it evolved into a beloved yet decrepit eyesore and health risk. So we decided to get rid of it. Along with the new roofs, the new siding, the repainting on these buildings, and the repairs to the parking lot, the removal of the old annex puts us in a position where we can start to grow again. Now we need to define our vision for the campus and the future, and the board will soon be asking for volunteers to join a planning committee to define that business for the vision for the campus. I think the timing is right for this because we have also entered a very active period of the minister search process, where the search committee that you elected is gathering input from all of us with cottage meetings and workshops. And they're collecting that information to create that vision for the congregation, which will be part of the completed congressional record. This is a massive piece of work that's required as part of the ministerial search process. And we have to thank them for doing all the work that they're putting into this for us. You should know that we can help them most by attending one of the workshops that they've already started to hold, and also by filling out the online survey, which was sent out, I believe, this past week. And I've been asked to remind you not only to fill out the survey, but please remember to hit the submit button. Okay? There have also been a couple of other big changes as well. Reverend Kelly has started in a new part-time role with us as affiliated community minister with a focus on pastoral care and some additional ministerial services for the congregation. Kelly, thank you for joining us. We need the help. And the biggest change, of course, of all is that Reverend Kathy, who was our full-time interim minister and was going to retire at the end of last year, instead agreed to serve as our new part-time minister, and she officially started in August. Reverend Kathy's change in status from full-time to part-time left us with some gaps to fill. Reverend Kathy will not be attending most of the committee meetings this year. Her new role will focus her time on worship services, supporting Kelly with pastoral care, and advising the search committee and the board. To help fill some of the gaps in communications, in July, the board changed our governance model from a policy model to a portfolio model. Very simply, last year the board worked with Reverend Kathy to set goals and policies for the congregation. Reverend Kathy attended most of the committee meetings in the church to advise each group, and she provided feedback to the board with monthly reports. And her reports to the board were structured around the goals that we had set. And that's basically the policy model of governance. Following a portfolio model means that each committee now has a board liaison who will be available to help them whenever needed. The liaisons keep us informed about what you need and help us track our progress in meeting our goals. We also will rely more on the Program Council this year to help develop and deepen the cross-committee communication. So if you're interested in learning more about the goals of the board, the role of liaisons, how we operate, or even what it means to be an affiliated community minister, please come to one of our discussions with the board's sessions that we will hold online and in person this month. With Kathy's change, the board also asked our extended worship team, including our in-house musicians, to help fill the gap by providing us with truly inspiring services during this interim. If you haven't been attending the services this summer, they were fantastic. And we can't thank them enough because it's a tremendous amount of work to bring these services off. And it's one of the most important part of congregation life. That's a lot of change. So as we start another year of change and experimentation, we are asking for your understanding. There will be mistakes, there will be confusion, and changes that might feel wrong to you. So if you have an issue, ask a board member, a liaison, or a relevant committee member about the change and why the change was made. We also ask that we all keep in mind that these changes are meant to deepen our connections while maintaining the core of our culture and experiences together so that we are ready to accept a new settled minister and grow into our future together. Thank you. And now let us take a moment to settle ourselves, to open our hearts and minds to what worship will bring us this morning. At the sounding of the chimes, let our spirits enter into a different space, a space of worship, of life, of love, of that which we hold sacred. May we take this time to grow our souls.
It's such a pleasure to be with you again and see your beautiful faces. Those of you who are visiting or new this morning, I haven't shared worship with the congregation since June, and I've missed you. So it's great to be with you again. And now, in solidarity with Unitarian Universalist congregations across the nation and around the world, we begin our service by lighting a chalice. Our chalice lighter this morning is Jeannie Lennon. Let's say together the words for the chalice lighting in our order of service as she does the honors. Come, let us enter this space of hope and community. Come, let us enter this space with our sorrows, our joys, our passion and compassion. Come, let us enter this space with the stories of our ancestors. for their strength and wisdom beats in our hearts. Come into this space, present to the beloved companions who move beside us. Come into this space, mindful that together we are building a future for other generations. Come into this space and let us worship. Our opening song is Swimming to the Other Side. We have the chorus, the words for the chorus in our order of service, and Andrew and Stephen are going to take us through the song and tell us when it's time for us to sing. Please rise in body or spirit.
We are living neath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the things that we live beside. Loving the spirits we live forever. We're all searching to the other side. I am alone and I am searching, hungering for answers in my time. I am balanced at the brink of wisdom. I'm impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with my senses open. Imperfection, it'd be my crime. In humility, I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living in the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the things that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. On this journey through thoughts and feelings, binding intuition, my head, my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me, band together and be my guide. Loving lessons that I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living in the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship the ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all sailing to the other side.
Nice work. Many Unitarian Universalist congregations mark this Sunday, the first Sunday of the church year, when we return from wherever our summers have taken us with a water communion. You were invited to bring water back from any trip you took this summer. If you did not travel, water from your kitchen tap or your garden hose will work just as well. Some of you who came without water this morning may have been stopped by a greeter to pick up some water from a pitcher in the lobby. And if you still are waterless at this moment, the pandemic showed us how much we can do virtually. So when the time comes, please virtually have your water ready. For those of you joining us on Zoom this morning, we have some water up here at the front that will combine with the water from those in the sanctuary so that you too are part of the community. So what we'll do is Kelly and I will take you through a little ceremony where from each direction we'll collect water you have. We have helpers here in the front who will come around with pitchers to collect the water from you, and we'll be adding it from each direction along with some words to say about each of the directions. And then after today, the water we've collected in our bowl here, we'll take out to the memorial garden to water the memories that are held out there. So we begin.
She took the words, y'all. She took the words. To begin, please stand or raise your hand if the water you brought came from a place south of here. And the kids will bring pitchers for you to pour your water into. We have a couple more over here. Emma, there's a lady right there. These two ladies. Nicely done. Is that from the south? Yes? Yay, Maybell. You can do it. Nice work, kiddos. Okay, Emma, can you pour it in there? Now I invite all of you to face the south, which is generally the direction behind me, so good job. As we call on the powers of fire that the South represents, we lament the polluting of the great Gulf of Mexico that lies to the south and have heard the cries of our Mother Earth. We are also thankful that with the good energies of loving people and the powers of nature, those beautiful waters are clearing again. And I ask you to think of places to the south of us where you have lived or visited. I invite you to lift to your mind friends and family who live south of here and call on those memories of times with them and their spirits of life and love to be here with us today. You may lift their names aloud into this sanctuary. Thank you.
And now we'll gather water that came this morning from the west, which would be this direction. So if your water, actual or virtual, is from the west, please stand or raise your hand so our kids can come around and collect it from you. And now, as best you can, if you want to turn and face the west. We call out to the powers of the west, the power of water. We envision wonderful bodies of water to the west, though in this community we may often think of the east instead, but there is water to the west of us. Water that we may have visited or hope to visit. And I invite you to think of that water that lies to the west of us, as well as friends and family you have who are west of here. Call on memories of your times with them, their spirits of life and love. Invite those spirits to be with you today. And as you feel comfortable doing so, speak their names into the sanctuary. Thank you.
That's not where we are. And I invite you, now we are going to gather the water from the north. So if you have water from the north, please raise your hand or stand as our kids gather. Emma, look away. There's so many people in the north. Nice job. As best as you are able, feel free to stand. Please help me and face the north. We call to the powers of north and the mighty earth, the power of stone and mountain. The north is home to water also, including the Arctic Ocean, with ice melting and warning us that we must not wait to change our ways. I encourage you to think of places north of us where you have lived or visited, and I invite you to lift to your mind family and friends who live north of here and call on those memories of times with them and their spirits of life and love to be with us here today. You may lift their names into this sanctuary. Thank you. You may be seated.
And now the remaining direction, the east. If your water came from east of here, including across the ocean east of here, please stand or raise your hand so we can collect it from you. And now, as best you can, if you'll turn and face the east. We call out to the powers of the east, representing air, the radiance of dawn. Think of places to the east of us where you have lived or visited, perhaps places even all the way across the Atlantic. And call to mind friends and family who live east of here, and let memories of times with them and their spirits of life and love be with you here today. And if you wish, speak their names into this sanctuary. Thank you.
And last, I invite you all to turn to your center, home of the Spirit. And in this special place, I invite you to lift to your mind friends and family members who have died, leaving us with gracious memories and, of course, their love. I invite you to call on those memories of times with them and their spirits of life and love to be with us here today. You may lift their names into our sanctuary. Dot, Rosemary. This is our closing blessing for our water ceremony. May the waters gathered here remind us of what each brings to this community. May the waters gathered here remind us of the waters that have nourished us before we were even born, that continue to give us sustenance and energy for our life journeys and for all creatures on this earth. And may the waters gathered here support us always as we continue to swim to the other side. Oh, and I want to say thank you especially to the kiddos for participating today. Can we sing them to their classroom now? I think part of what makes this sanctuary a holy place is it is a place where we are invited and encouraged to bring the highs and the lows of our lives and everything in between. So each Sunday, we invite all to participate in a ritual where you can come forward and light a candle or come forward and place a river stone or shell into the fountain as we mark these highs and lows and in-betweens. As our friends come forward, we will join together singing hymn 123, Spirit of Life. I invite you all to look at each candle lit here. each candle that is so much more than a single flame. Each candle represents something in someone's heart here today. And there are so many more that could have been lit. I'm going to sound my singing bowl. I invite you all to focus on the sound until it dissipates and send love to each person here and each person that you're holding in your heart who is away from here. May our love carry us through to whatever comes next. Amen.
To begin, some words from German poet Rainer Maria Rilke. I live my life in growing orbits which move out over the things of the world. Perhaps I can never achieve the last, but that will be my attempt. I am circling around God, around the ancient tower, and I have been circling for 1,000 years, and I still don't know. Well, here we all are again, today resuming our familiar journey. Actually, the journey never really was abandoned, though it may have seemed to be. Perhaps we took a break. We may have wandered somewhere else for a while, may have found spiritual sustenance in other places than this congregation. And now today we begin again, not marching out in a firm straight line, but circling, hoping to move ever closer to what we seek. The journey we resume is a timeless one that never really stops, no matter how much it sometimes seems to stop or even disappear during some chapters of our lives. But the journey we intentionally resume today by gathering as a spiritual community is the journey of the soul, the quest for meaning, for life-grounding, life-focusing truth, for a meaning that is capable of supporting us through all the chances and changes of our existence. The journey is a circular one because what we seek is not out there but in here, hidden away in ourselves, in this place, this time, the present circumstances of our lives. And though many others have already pursued this journey and shared their findings, we ultimately each have to take it for ourselves. Spiritual substitutes are not possible. Secondhand meanings just won't work. The journey of the soul is the journey of all people in all times, and of each single person in each time, and this is our time. As we set forth this morning, the path is familiar, but the circumstances are not. We gather as we always do on Sunday morning, the congregation that has been here for a long time, But this morning is marked by significant differences, only a few of which Gary detailed in his opening words. We have faces that are changed by experience. There are faces that are gone forever. There are new faces appearing in our midst. And the changes deepen when viewed from the inside in terms of the lives of each one of us, all the people here this morning. Things have happened since this Sunday last year that have changed you. Happened in your families, in your work, in your neighborhood, in the relationships with those you love, in the relationships with those you are estranged from. Changes in how you perceive the world. This specific facility is much changed from how it appeared a year ago, thank God. And more changes are coming. You have new leadership. Your search committee, with every communication and invitation it issues, every time it speaks, is drawing you ever closer to the coming change of a new settled minister. Now, all these changes may energize you or deplete you, may give you confidence or shake your foundation, leave you with clarity or leave you just more confused than ever. Many changes, so many that the old journey of the soul seeking meaning begins to look not so old, not so familiar, but quite new, and maybe more uncertain in its outcomes. I took some driving trips this summer, one of which took me through a section of the Appalachian Mountains. While driving through the mountains, I often saw the sign that you likely have noticed if you've ever traveled through mountainous terrain: beware of falling rocks. I was puzzled by just how I should respond to the warning. Should I keep my eyes scanning upward along the cliffs for any sign of movement? In which case, dodging falling rocks would no longer matter because not watching the road would mean I was likely heading off the road. On the other hand, if I kept my eyes on the road, as a wise driver should, then I had no hope of dodging a rock slide because I would never see it coming. And even if I did see a boulder careening down the mountain, exactly how on a twisting mountain road do I go about avoiding that? I concluded that no matter what I did, I was a goner. Now that I'm safely back here on flat coastal landscape, I realize how very much effort I commit to preparing for the possibility of falling rocks in my life. All the insurance policies and safety precautions and plan Bs and lists of pros and cons and what ifs that consume me. Yet just as I saw in the mountains that there is no way to dodge a falling rock, I wonder if I truly believe that somehow I just might outwit the falling rocks that life sends my way over time. If I play my cards right, can I really avoid knowing the grief of loss that never comes when I expect it to? Avoid the hardships that are built into the very nature of reality? Just what of all the falling rocks can finally be dodged? And does it make sense to spend so much care and cost in arranging my life on the faulty assumption that I will be able to avoid most of the bad stuff that is inevitably coming my way? Just what is there that I could ever create or sustain that would not be vulnerable to all the chances and changes of existence? To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. The familiar words from the biblical book of Ecclesiastes, which also became the lyrics of Turn, Turn, Turn that Diane played for the prelude, were written by an unnamed sage identified only as the preacher. In the ancient Israelite society, sages typically understood their function to be that of questioners, critics of traditional values and orthodox beliefs, and pointers to more insightful ways of knowing the world and the self. This particular sage, this preacher, carries his questioning function to an extreme by chipping away at some of the favorite truths that were brought back by those claiming to actually successfully completed a journey of the soul. Some of the priests and leaders of the organized religion of that time, who will always be the first in any society and any time to announce, hey, I have the truth here, were teaching the value of permanence. That which is true and beautiful and good lasts forever, claimed these sages. Just as God is eternal and unchanging, so are God's truths and creations eternal and unchanging. If you wish to find God and truth, seek that which lasts. In response to this popular teaching on permanence, the author of Ecclesiastes observes that many of the most valued things in life, such as love, peace, joy, health, compassion, last only for a moment and then are replaced often by their opposites. Permanence, argues the preacher, does not necessarily form part of the spiritual life, since the things of that life are also far from permanent. If you seek permanence, if the journey of your soul is bent on attaining an everlasting truth, if you measure the value of a thing or a person or an experience or a life by the length of its existence, then your journey will be a frustrating one. From the preacher's perspective, nothing lasts forever. An hour in the sun, a moment of breath upon the wind, and all of us, all of this is gone forever. And of course we know that. Our own Unitarian Universalist tradition has made a point of noting this, of insisting there are not absolutes somewhere waiting to be found, of challenging us to be open to ongoing change and to be ourselves agents of change. We know this. Yet all that knowing has not stopped us from trying to find something, somewhere, that can stand apart from change. In congregations, so often, certain aspects of the building are unchanging, certain elements of worship are never to be changed, or there's simply the common understanding that this is the way we've always done things. And they show up as items that will magically remain unchanged, or they do remain unchanged because the conflict that comes when they are changed is so intense everybody decides to leave it alone. And our personal lives also unfold in ways that imply we have somehow forgotten that nothing is permanent. I had my own sorrowful reminder of the impermanence of everything this summer when one of my brothers died unexpectedly of alcoholism. Though, given his alcoholism, his death was perhaps not all that unexpected. I'd known for some time that he was struggling with recovery, and I kept intending to check on him. I'd even casually considered making a trip to visit in case my actual presence might have been encouraging to him, as someone who understood the challenges of sobriety by virtue of having been married to an alcoholic. But my brother died while I was still thinking about contacting him, as I was caught in the assumption that there will yet be time. Looking at the slideshow his family prepared for his memorial service, my primary response was almost disbelief. How could so much time have passed since we were those small children in the photographs, passed while I seemed to not be noticing its passing? And how could that brother who grew up alongside me now just be gone? And therein lies the motivation of our journey of the soul. Indeed, the motivation behind most decisions any of us makes to get serious about our spiritual lives, or even the motivation behind religious movements generally. We discover in some very personal, absolutely unavoidable way that we are finite, that those we love are finite, that none of us forever avoids those falling rocks. That fundamental revelation of limits, of mortality, can send us in one of two directions, either launching us into a series of efforts to dodge the rocks and defy change, including death itself, or at least hold it off as long as possible, or else searching for something, an idea, a hope, a belief that can carry us through the falling rocks and help us keep standing. My late brother was a master builder almost from the time he could pick up blocks and stack them into towering structures. He built tree houses and bicycle obstacle courses for us growing up. He became an engineer and supervised construction projects throughout his working life. His skilled hands that were forever sketching plans and putting things together in ingenious forms, his hands are an image for me of what does last, despite our years of being apart, of what lasts even now he's no longer living. Hands are our connection to each other. Hands represent the relationship that does not die even when the body dies, for the relationship continues in the mind and heart of those still living. The people we have loved in this congregation, the experiences we have shared in this place, certain elements of the building, certain ways of worshiping and doing church work, all that may change or even one day be gone. But the web of connections we create and sustain here, that remains. No matter what else changes, no matter what rocks fall on our heads, a web of connection that shows up every Sunday each time we join our hands to sing Shalom. And even when so much time has passed away that there is nobody here in the congregation who remembers any of us who are here today, no longer has any actual connection to any of us, still the relationships that have been formed, are forming, will be formed in this congregation will remain in mysterious, hidden ways. The preacher concluded his meditation on impermanence in Ecclesiastes with the observation that God has put eternity into a person's heart. While all things pass away, each lasting for its own time, what endures abides in our hearts. The love we have for one another, the faith rooted in that love which insists that the bonds we form are always there, strong enough to outlast any falling rocks, tucked away in a place in us where rocks can never reach. Our faith does not consist of propositions to believe or a creed to avow. Our faith lives in hands joined over and over across time. I live my life in growing orbits which move out over the things of the world. Perhaps I can never achieve the last, but that will be my attempt. I'm circling around God, around the ancient tower, and I have been circling for 1,000 years, and I still don't know. So we go on circling this morning, circling in our collective and individual journeys of the soul. Maybe this time we'll find what we seek. Maybe not. Perhaps we will circle for 1,000 years and still not know. But what we can know, what can always be trusted, what remains steadfast whether we circle for the first time or the 1,000th time, is that we will be held, supported, cherished by this community. To everything there is a season, except for love. Love is in all seasons, and it never dies. Amen. Our concluding song, again keeping our theme of water going, is Blue Boat Home, number 1064 in the Teal hymnal. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing.
Today's offering will go to Special Pedals, a unique employment opportunity for adults with disabilities started in 2015 by a Wilmington special education teacher. With one paid manager and a team of volunteers, neurodiverse adults are taught to repair and tune up bicycles. Donated bicycles that are beyond repair are taken apart and the pieces are made into art or jewelry. The community benefits with the sale of the low-cost bicycles or bike repairs and unique jewelry. It's a win-win all around. You can visit Special Pedals Thursday through Sunday at 320 Red Cross Street in Wilmington. And thank you in advance for your support. If you are contributing by check, please put STP in the memo field. You can also text your donations to 813-513-0597. Would the ushers please come forward to take the collection?
Let your little light shine, shine, shine. Let your little light shine, oh my Lord. There might be someone down in the valley trying to get home. So let your little light shine, shine, shine. Let your little light shine, oh my Lord. There might be someone down in the valley trying to get home. It may be me or it may be you. It may be your brother or your sister too. There might be someone down in the valley trying to get home. It may be from near or from lands afar, by morning sun or by evening star. There might be someone down in the valley trying to get home. So let your little light shine, shine, shine. Let your little light shine, oh my Lord. There might be someone down in the valley trying to get home. So let your little light shine, shine, shine. Let your little light shine, oh my Lord. There might be someone down in the valley trying to get home. It may be you or it may be me, traveling by air or by land or sea. There might be someone down in the valley trying to get home. In times of joy or in times of woe, don't you ever let your lamp grow low. There might be someone down in the valley trying to get home. So let your little light shine, shine, shine. Let your little light shine, oh my Lord. There might be someone down in the valley trying to get home. So let your little light shine, shine, shine. Let your little light shine, oh my Lord. There might be someone down in the valley trying to get home.
want to thank all those who contributed to creating the service this morning. My ministry partner, Reverend Kelly, my governance partner, Gary, Andrew, Diane, Stephen, our wonderful choir. Interesting that they are the ones that get the applause all the time. And our ushers, greeters, tech support, truly a worship service is the creation of so many and is more than all of that many. The closing words this morning are adapted from poet David White. It is still possible that you are the place where the miracle begins. It is still possible that since your birth, you have been the bread shared, the wine poured out. It is still possible that you carry within you all the goodness the world ever needs.
Please join me in saying the words to extinguish our chalice as Reverend Kathy blows it out. We extinguish. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Always surprising how many Unitarians it takes to extinguish a candle. And now, as our custom here, please rise and join hands as we conclude singing Shalom.